Greetings and welcome to the introduction to astronomy. In this week's exploration of the solar system, we are going to talk about the Vega 1 and 2 probes and what they looked at in our solar system. So let's go ahead and get started. And these two probes were both launched in December of 1984. And they had two primary duties, two things that they were going to do. One is that they were going to be a continuation of the Soviet Union's Venera probes, and these would study Venus. So the following summer, they flew by Venus in June of 1985, and they had a couple of different portions there. They had a balloon and a lander. So the main craft that flew by kind of went by Venus, dropped off this portion of it, and then headed out for another exploration that we'll see in a minute. The Vega 1 and 2, the balloon and landers, then went into the atmosphere. So we can see here a mock-up of one of those balloons that would then descend and travel through the atmosphere and was able to explore it for a longer period of time. So this was one of the reasons for doing this, was that these lasted about 2 days in the Venusian atmosphere. So able to take measurements, and you can see down below the balloon the payload with all of the different instruments on it. And that's about how long they lasted within the atmosphere before finally succumbing and crashing down into the planet. So the craft is now on the planet at this point, and of course will never be heard from again. Now, that wasn't the only thing that they were doing. So yes, they were there to study Venus, but this was also the last appearance of Halley's Comet. And it went to Halley's Comet, visiting it on March 6th and 7th of 1986. So of the following year, and traveled to a relatively close distance, only less than 10,000 kilometers from the nucleus of the comet. Now the Vega 1 and 2 were two of the probes in the Halley Armada. So a large number of spacecraft that we'll be looking at over the coming weeks that were sent to explore Halley's Comet. Now Halley's Comet is one of the best known comets and was the first to be recognized as a periodic comet back in the 1700s. So the first one we realized that it comes back. So this was why it was really well known and people wanted to study that. So a number of different craft were sent. And as I said, over the coming weeks, we will talk about a number of those different craft that explored Halley's Comet. But Vega 1 and 2 were unique in that they had a dual mission, that they first flew by Venus and dropped off exploration materials there, and then headed further on, following out to follow the path of Halley's Comet. So let's finish up here with our summary. And what we've looked at today is that the Vega 1 and 2 craft really had multiple missions. They had two things. They were going to explore Venus, and the main craft dropped off balloon and landers that would then explore the atmosphere and surface of Venus, as well as a flyby and exploration of Halley's Comet. So giving us one of our earliest up close looks at a comet, again from this armada that we will see over the coming weeks. So that concludes this discussion on the Vega 1 and 2 spacecraft. We'll be back again next week for another topic in our exploration of the solar system. So until then, have a great day, everyone. And I will see you in class.